Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Call Sheet Confessions. Today, my guest is the co-founder of Rec Philly. He is an author of the book Life's a Hike, which is Amazon's top 5 best-selling for solo travel. He's also been named in the Forbes 30 Under 30 for social impact. My guest is Dave Silver. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, Mia. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we've been trying to make it happen, and here we are.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for getting all the way here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So we met back at the governor's mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing like a content holiday brunch,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Good times.
So take me back. What were you like as a kid? What was it like growing up outside of Philly?
Take you back as I was a kid. Yeah, so I grew up in the Bucks County area in Warminster. I was always a really goofy kid. In high school is where, I started developing kind of who I will become. I took a leadership role in like my Jewish community where I became the president of like my Jewish youth organization, kind of built a strong friend base there. And it wasn't until 11th grade where I was really diving into film and media, was where I actually met my best friend and future business partner, Will Toms. And him and I really became like the video guys at our school. And really the creative itch started really becoming apparent later on in high school. Until then, I didn't really know who really does, but I didn't really know what I was after. I just knew that I was a goofy kid who liked sports. And then eventually as high school progressed, I dove into leadership through my community and media and creativity through some of my school programs.
That's awesome. And it's so cool that you guys met back in high school.
Yeah. Our last names are S and T, and we were randomly in 5 out of 6 classes together one semester.
Wow.
And because of our last names, we sat next to each other in all those classes. So it was inevitably that we would become friends, and we started working on projects together for group projects. And that really opened my eyes up because Will was a super creative dude, and I wasn't as much until him and I started to bond. And then we took over our afternoon announcements in high school, and he was a producer of the announcements, and I was the weatherman.
Okay, awesome.
Sonny D. Silv. Claim to fame.
So then post high school, what was the game plan after?
Yeah, I went to Temple University where I picked advertising as a major really almost at random. It was a mix of I loved Mad Men, the show, and I was like, ooh, this is advertising seems cool. But also I never loved school, which I kind of regret because I wish I valued education more when I was picking my career path or picking my major, I should say. But I picked advertising because it seemed like it would be pretty easy, and which I'm grateful for because the easy major allowed me to do a lot of extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Like take a leadership role in a Jewish fraternity that I joined on campus, joined a media club, an advertising club. So I was always busy outside of school. I just didn't want to be busy with school.
Yeah. I went to Temple as well, Klein alum.
To you.
And I do think such a great part of that program and going to school there were the extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And like I joined We Need to Talk, which was a talk show, which prepared me for what I'm doing now. So I think that is such a plus to that program. And it's so cool that you were involved in so many different things outside of the program.
Yeah. 2 big things at Temple really changed the trajectory of where I would take my career. One was my capstone project in advertising was Diamond Edge Communication, which is like a real life program where you're going to actually work on something that's going to become something. Usually a lot of your like college projects are like fake assignments.
Right.
This one I had to plan the 10th anniversary of like an advertising awards. And it was my first event that I really planned where I had to book a band and create the graphics and be an account manager and get sponsorship. And I remember I just like I blew my teacher away because no one's ever raised sponsorship. No one really ever like booked a band for these things. Like every year a student would plan it like I did and they would just do like the bare minimum. But for me, I'm like, oh, if we're going to do something, let's go crazy. Right. And I remember my teacher just being so impressed. And I was like, I loved every second of this, which was really the introduction to event planning. And the second piece that really changed my trajectory was in the fraternity. I became social chairman, and I did it for 3.5 of 4 years of me being in school. And that's where I found the love of planning events and these nighttime events and staffing people at bar shifts and front door shifts. And, for most of my college career, I was outside of the parties, making sure that everything was going well, booking talent as DJs and turning our basement into concerts. Like, it all really started in this basement for me, which looking back was just so monumental.
Yeah, and there's so many skills that you took from that because you weren't just doing one thing. You're doing all these different things and being on the logistics side of the frat parties.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the frat parties for me was a business.
Yeah.
And it was also an opportunity to build skill sets that I later ended up loving and turning into, a whole career.
Right.
Yeah.
So then the idea for Rec Philly came. Did that come while you were still in school or after graduating from Temple?
So the basement parties turned into my first business,
Yeah.
which I ended up calling the Broad Street Music Group. It was called the Broad Street Music Lounge, which is what I called the basement. It was a venue. And eventually when my landlord kicked me out of the basement for turning it into a venue, he's like, hey, like, you can't do this. So you need like an insurance policy to do this. And I was like, he's like, you need a $2 million insurance policy. I was like, I don't have $2 million. Later on, that really meant you needed like $75 a month for insurance. And I was just too naive and I didn't understand it. So I was like, all right, I'm not doing it in your basement anymore. And I thought that was going to be the end. I thought that was a period to a chapter and like, all right, now I'll go back to advertising and I'll find a job. But I realized how passionate I was about the parties and the concerts we were throwing in the Broad Street Music Lounge, AKA fraternity basement. So I got my friends who helped me with those things together, and I said, why don't we do this kind of same thing, but in venues around the city instead? And that was why we called it the group. So Broad Street Music Group turned into really an event production business where I was throwing concerts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 4 different venues around the city while I was still in college. I turned it into an LLC. Will Toms, my business partner for Rec, joined the team while he was at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. He would come and film my events. I'd plan and book the events. And that's how we started building community in Philadelphia, because artists were like, what's this event series? How do I get on stages? How do I get press? How do I get media? And I realized that so many artists in the city needed those opportunities. And that was really the aha moment of like, there's an opportunity here in the city to produce events, to create these opportunities. And also I'll say is one of me and Will's mutual best friends was also an aspiring hip hop artist. And I was kind of taking on the role of like manager or opportunity creator. And so that's why I was really doing all of it in the first place. It's like why I threw the first basement concert. It's why I threw the first concert out of the basement. Was like any show I would produce, I would make sure my friend was on it as well.
Yeah,
and I ended up throwing like really big concerts at like Union Transfer and TLA, and working with a local hip hop group at the time called Ground Up, which was from Temple, which was a really cool experience. All really for my friend. But my friend, his persona was so many others where we all needed stages to get on, and I was just happy to be the one who started to coordinate it. So that was the mission of Rec started there.
Cool.
But at some point, we didn't really just want to just be in the business of throwing shows. I wasn't competing with Live Nation. I was like, what am I trying to accomplish here? And that's where we pivoted our journey. And what a lot of people don't remember is we pivoted our journey to become a record label, where we're like, hey, let's just take the best artists who've touched our stages, including one of my friends, and let's build a community record label around this. What does it look like for a local artist to use all local businesses in order to propel their career? Local press outlets, local merchandisers, local radio stations. Like, how do we create a local ecosystem that can empower a creator to make it on the national scene instead of them having to go to LA or New York? Like, how do we make it all happen here in Philadelphia? Was the ethos of our record label. But a record label needs cash. You really need cash to stimulate that. So we did a Kickstarter campaign to launch the record label. It ultimately failed.
Okay.
Crashed and burned, and there was no record label. But we had a lot of pieces that were left over, a lot of community, a lot of artists, a lot of interest, and that's where Rec was born. It was, what do we do now? Because we had a space in a warehouse in North Philly, which was kind of our hub for where our record label artists would be. We were getting a lot of interest from the business community, because they're like, who are these creative guys throwing all these shows, these parties, these artists? I would have businesses reach out to us and say, hey, can you book a DJ for us? Can you throw this party for us? Do you have a singer or a band that we could use? So I had this like little agency business that was happening. We had our space, which was the hub for creators. And we're like, what business can we create here with these with these resources that have already come naturally?
Yeah.
Rec.
And that's how it was born.
Yeah.
And it's cool that, it kind of came from something else failing. You tried something, didn't work out. Now we're going to regroup and we're going to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you still had that community, which I think is the most important thing, especially when building, a business and people that are going to come and support. You need that community, and through throwing those concerts and events and doing these things, you had that accessible to you in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and it's also cool, like you said, a lot of people think they need to go to New York or need to go to LA to get publicity and perform and make those connections, but you saw that opportunity in Philly to create something there because we were missing that.
Yeah. Philly has always been a great talent city.
Yeah.
It is a great talent city.
Absolutely.
But the infrastructure for a career path isn't necessarily there. And we saw that as an opportunity. Maybe it could be there. And that's really what Rec was always been about. We wanted to be like a new institution in the city that can be a bridge for the lack of resources and community and opportunities for the local scene. So it kind of started there, but it was always that. And community has always been the bedrock of everything that we've done. And it came so naturally as artists and creators saw our platform as a real opportunity and as our space as a real resource.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to have still watch the creators that I met day one continue to flourish in the community. And have become true friends of mine. And it's probably my favorite part of the whole journey.
Yeah, definitely. The people you meet and seeing them at the beginning of their journey to now what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. It's awesome. And Rec had so many things, a photo studio, a stage, like a booth to record music. Like I thought that was always so cool, just the versatility of the space. And no matter what type of creator you are, you had a space at Rec.
Yeah. Yeah, so our warehouse space had that in a very bootstrap version, right? And we turned very non-studio spaces in this pretty dungy warehouse into a place to create. And once we realized there was a real need and business model behind what we were doing in the warehouse, came the space that you're really referring to, which was our state-of-the-art facility, 10,000 square feet, center city, that had 12 serious production studios, 2 big concert spaces.
Yeah.
And that was always our dream, was like, how can we get this warehouse to be the real thing? And I knew we would do it. I never thought we would do it as fast as we did. The space that we went from our warehouse to this state-of-the-art facility so fast that I think it was good for us. Looking back, we could have even went like one place before that to grow a little bit more organically. If we would have done that, we might have not ran right into the pandemic the way that we did with such a big space. But it was really a dream come true when we opened up that facility, because we always visioned it. I remember with Will and other team members, like literally closing our eyes at some of our planning tables and being like, oh, you imagine it, looking like this and being like that. We'd walk into like WeWork at the time and be like, oh, look how cool, like the wooden thing is over here and the lights, and like, imagine if our space could have that. And it's like, we felt so far away until it was right there for us.
Yeah. And it's cool too that you were able to kind of like see it in your mind first before it physically manifested. I think that's such an important part of when you do have a goal, is seeing it first and then taking the steps to make it happen.
Yeah. It's absolutely my favorite part. Some of my favorite parts of the journey was just when we were really in low places, like in the grind, in the warehouse, sweating it out, not a lot of resources, not a lot of money, and just whiteboarding the vision, drawing the shape of the space and carving it up into how it could look. Oh, let's do the studios on the walls, or let's do the studios in the middle, and this is where the entrance will be, and let's build out our app and how the members will, like, that part is the best part.
The planning and the
Yeah.
prep.
And when you have confidence that you're going to do it too, like there's some folks that will do it on the whiteboard and will never bring it into reality.
Yeah.
But the people I surround myself with, like whatever we put on this whiteboard, like is going to happen. So like, let's be careful what you put on the whiteboard. And there's a lot of power in that. And it's something I've always been so excited about.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And then once you started the space, you said pandemic hit. And there were, of course, ups and downs when you're starting a business and growing it. Yeah. How'd you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate of the timing of it all.
Yeah.
But luckily I wasn't alone with it being unfortunate. We all dealt with it. So,
right.
We all have our own pandemic stories and how it deflated momentum in different ways.
Yeah.
But for us, 2 years of fundraising and building our dream opened, December of 19, went from 100 members in the warehouse to 900 members.
Wow.
Almost overnight. And the momentum was just firing. And it was incredible. It was the best few months of our journey for sure. And then the whole space had to shut down and we were really left scrambling. And I went from a staff of like 15 people who built from the warehouse to here, having to have to like let them go. It was such a painful phone call to make once we realized it was going to be longer than 2 weeks that we were closed down. Right.
Right.
And we were just, I lived with my, one of my business partners, Ryan, at the time. And him and I were just up all night, every night, trying to figure out how we were going to transition this, and calling Will and be like, the three of us on the line of like, how can we keep momentum in any way? And more importantly, how can we continue to provide value to our community? And just like everyone, we adapted. And for us, it was interesting because while the space was closed, once like a month or two went by and people started learning policies, masking, this and that, we turned our space into like a state-of-the-art, brand new, super clean. It can be your own space facility. So businesses would come and be like, do a virtual production from our space. And that ended up being a great opportunity for us.
Yeah.
And then the business community really showed up and supported through relief programs where we distributed like $100,000 to local creators during the pandemic.
Wow.
And it actually started funds that lived on after the pandemic, where we distributed like $500,000 from one of the funds that started during the pandemic. So it was finding those little pockets, but it was not easy. I thought we were going to close. I thought our business was going to be shut down. I remember walking through the city one day, no one was on the streets, just like, I can't believe we did all of this and it's all going to be for nothing. And while I was on that walk, I got a call from one of our partners at Comcast, and they said, hey, like, I know that, the program we were going to run together isn't going to happen because the space is closed, but we're still willing to pay for that program so you can distribute those funds to the creators. And they actually saved our business for a little bit. And that was a beautiful part of it, and just showed like who really is going to support you during those tough times. So yeah, just getting to that reopening mark was all we were just fighting any way we could, negotiating, getting federal loans, doing whatever we could to just get ourselves reopened. Because once we did, we can turn our membership model back on and start doing the things and hopefully start building that momentum. Unfortunately, I mean, we did eventually open, then close, then reopen, close, reopen. We never got that same momentum back the way we opened, and it was so hot and firing and people were just lining up to join because everyone was still like, what is physical space? What does it look like for me to share resources with the pandemic? And
then people were kind of jaded from the pandemic of even like socially, people don't really know how to communicate it was a transition for sure.
It was tough. And for us as young, ambitious entrepreneurs, when we were finally reopened, we were really impatient because our business plan, when we raised money from investment, was like, by 2022, we're going to be in 3 cities. We'll have a facility like this in 3 cities. Well, here we are. It was 2021, and like we were just reopening again. And that ended up kind of, that reality kind of blinded us because of the impatience. And we said, hey, like as soon as we're reopened, like let's start thinking about where we're going to go next. Which is great as ambitious entrepreneurs, but we didn't have a foundation.
Right.
This whole new space was a whole new business. Like, I've been doing it for 6-7 years in the warehouse. Now we're here. I only had 3 months of success. And now when we reopened for our customers, we're like thinking about going to the next place. we haven't really had a full year of like, what does it look like?
Right.
And I kind of just like lied to myself. I'm like, I think we're good. We're good. Let's go. And we put our eyes on the next thing right then and there. And that was the beginning of a long road of expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It it makes sense though, because you were building up all this momentum. It was go, go, go. You could see the finish line, and then the pandemic hit. And then when you got back to it, you're like, we can just pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Although that's not the reality, and like wanting to pour back into, you know, what you have already before kind of looking outwards. But I hear what you're saying with the impatience and just wanting to just pick up where you left off.
Yeah. Yeah. We had big goals, and now we had investors. We felt a little bit of pressure to,
Yeah.
you know, keep growth happening at all costs. And, as I look back and reflect on it, just we really needed to take a big deep breath and say, like, let's just focus on this and getting it right. And getting it right is not the flash, you know, like that you can do cool things. It's about sustainability. It's about foundation. Right. And I really wish I took a more honest look of it when we were thinking about growing and scaling. Yeah. Because I was just looking at all of the flash of it all. Like, oh, it would be so sexy to grow and make big announcements and to do the thing. It was a big lesson learned of how quickly we tried to scale.
Totally.
After that.
Yeah. And something I also want to say that I loved about the space is I would go there so many times for different projects. Yeah. Like if we were doing an interview at school, like for a TV show, we were filming it at Rec. Yeah. If I was doing my birthday photo shoot or a dance photo shoot, we were doing it at Rec. If I was teaching, you had like a studio, like a dance space almost. I taught like a little dance class at Rec. Like that was really cool. And also I knew a lot of peers of mine that were part of the membership program with Rec or mentorship program. And so that was really cool too, how connected you stayed with Temple through Rec.
Yeah. Yeah. Temple specifically has always been a great partner of mine, and the alumni team has always been super supportive. And so we've ran a lot of programs with for Temple students and giving them discounts to the membership. And we've hosted a lot of programs from Temple. Super proud alumni and excited to see how I'll continue to grow with them. But yeah, the space was super unique and all different types of studios because, you know, we didn't want to just be one thing to one creator. We wanted the space to be, you could go through an entire creative process from idea to creation to editing to publishing and not have to leave our space. Yeah. So we wanted to have all the tools for that, whether you're an author, whether you're a hip hop artist, whether you're a dancer, whether you're a videographer. That was what was really special about the space. And that you can walk out of one of the rooms and bump into a creator that you could use their service, and that's community. You know, so Absolutely. That was definitely what was special about it.
Yeah. So Rec ultimately closed, and now you're in a new chapter. You're an author. You just wrote this book, Life's a Hike. Yeah. So what's a day on your call sheet look like now? What's a day in your life look like now? Yeah.
We jumped. I'm happy to jump. I'm happy to jump way over our expansion to Miami and the close and like that not working out, and then coming back and trying to make it work.
We'll hit it in a bit.
But I'm happy to jump over because it's a really dark time for me. And then ultimately December of 2025, the business closed. That decision was made almost a year before that, which was not an easy decision. Yeah. My call sheet today is so different than like what it was for 10 years. And I'm really happy about that because for 10 years, people would be nauseous looking at my calendar. It was... I'm a time blocker. I stick to my calendar. My time management skill is probably my top skill. And it was filled completely. Even like if I was on a break, it would say break. And
I do the same. I'm like, hang out with friends.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it would be increments of 15, 30 hour blocks of meetings that were of different topics, whether hiring, firing, working on a proposal, all the things, loans, investment, all in the same day. It was very nauseating and really caused burnout pretty quickly. Today, now, I went from having like 30 employees, big debt, big loans, big leases, big investors, to to now it's just Dave. It's just Dave,
Yeah.
and there's nothing else. And it's a 180. So my
Right.
day looks like it's a 180. And for me, my days are now slow, and I love slow now because everything
Yeah.
was so fast. I could not. It was like gotta do this. Even if it's working out, it's like gotta work out in this tight window because I gotta jump. I gotta have a coffee for 5 seconds so I can get to this next thing. Now it's like we're spending 3 hours in the morning, like workout / coffee / read. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
I currently have like 4 or 5 partner clients that I get to kind of hand select for what I want to work on. So, a little bit of time each day goes into making sure that those projects are doing what they need to do. A lot of my partner clients require production. So like we're going out in the field and bringing my creative team and kind of helping direct whatever the production needs are. So it's a bit of, we're doing some production. We're making sure we're doing the back end work. For me, it's almost vital that every day I spend about an hour walking around the park because that's where I think most clearly. And it's really important from where I'm at now to just be like near trees,
Yeah.
and getting fresh air. No
Yeah,
matter
touching
really,
grass.
no matter really what the weather is. Like I have park walk on my calendar for an hour probably every day at this point. So it's like slow mornings. It's making sure my clients and my partners are getting what they need. So there's no open items for them.
Yeah.
We're park walking. We're going to a production. And, we're giving ourselves enough time to cook dinner for ourselves, to eat right. And what a beautiful thing, because my life was not like that at all for a decade. And it's about time that I can start building the schedule that is going to put me in the best position to succeed and to live a happy and joyful life, and not just one that is going to just be so demanding that causes burnout and stress.
Right.
And it's just for the sake of this like big goal that you set years and years ago that you're not even sure that you want to hit anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking that time to slow down, check in with yourself, take time for you, and figure out what really works for you and what you want long term. Yeah. So how'd you get the idea to write the book?
Yeah. 19-year-old Dave, right when he was starting Broad Street Music Group and turned into Rec, 19-year-old Dave was the creative that needed this company. Me and Will and our other buddy, Leonzo, like we were all creatives in our own right, making videos, writing music, and I forgot who that Dave was once the business started, because I immediately was always in business mode. I was the operator. I was the one who would push and brute force make things happen, and never really got back to that 19-year-old Dave. And it's inside me for sure. And I knew it was there, and it wanted to get out.
Yeah.
And so when I closed Rec in December, I took January to say, hey, like, I'm going to kind of go off the map. I'm going to wander. I want to explore and I want to see new things. I want to be unplugged. So I went out to Europe and I spent 10 days in Spain, 10 days in Portugal. Then I came to Central America and did 10 days in Costa Rica. But my 10 days in Spain, I hiked a really famous pilgrimage called the Camino de Santiago, which I wasn't familiar with until my friend told me about it. And he's like, hey, you should check this out. If you're like in this like spiritual transition, he's like, and I know you like hiking, like you should check this out. And I Googled it and I was like, oh yeah. Like I had to read one sentence. I was like, I'm in. And when I decided to take this trip, I was like, I'm going to make sure not only am I unplugged, but that I achieve certain creative goals of mine, which is to write something both short form and long form. I wanted to get back to creating some music. I wanted to read as much as I could. So all of those were in the cards. I didn't know when and where those things would happen. But immediately when I started my hike, the Camino, I was immediately hit. I started the Camino. It was going to be about a 70-mile journey. And I heard it was a really popular pilgrimage to take. Like I'll be around community throughout the whole thing. And when I got there on day one to my start, there was not a soul in sight.
Wow.
And my heart dropped, and I was like, I'm gonna be hiking through northern Spain alone for a week. this is intense. And I honestly was full of fear. And I had I had a camera with me, like a little handheld. And to kind of combat the fear, I like brought out my camera and I started talking to my camera, just like as a companion.
Yeah.
And what started pouring out of me was what I was hoping was all of the lessons and stories of 15 years of entrepreneurship started just kind of pouring out. Like, what are all the things that I really wanted to, the reason why, one of the things that I wanted to do creatively was I have so much value of experience from such a crazy journey that we've taken. Like, I want others to learn from that. And so I was hoping that this would be the moment where that happens. So as I was hiking each day, I'd hike about like 13-ish miles per day, talking to my camera. And every time I like said something that I thought was really valuable, I just take a note on my phone app, like whatever the topic was. When I got to my like hostel or hotel that night in the new city that I hiked to, I'd go open my laptop and I would just, for 2-3 hours, write without looking back, without hitting the enter button on my keyboard. I was just writing for hours. I did that for 7 days straight, hiking, getting home, typing, not looking back. And I wrote like 70 pages of notes. And it was just of lessons and of stories of 15 years of entrepreneurship through the lens of a really challenging hike for me. That was not challenging because you were going uphill or in bad weather. It was challenging physically, for a lot of different reasons, and just also being alone. It's challenging. So that is what became of the book. It's these short stories and lessons that all came pouring out from the hike. And yeah, I'm really excited to have published that because my goal was not only to create something, but to share it and not to be so stuck in perfectionism where I'm like, editing, wanting to add. I wrote without looking back, and then I was done. I turned it over to an editor. I said, hey, like, good luck with this. I know there's good stuff in here. I need you to like separate it as like a chapter per lesson and then just like make it a little bit more readable, like grammatically. And they're like, cool. They did that. I was like, cool, let's publish it. And that was the creation of the book. And I'm just happy that it's shared. And I've already received feedback from close friends like, I relate to this so much. I didn't realize you went through this and I'm going through this now. And I'm like, this is all I really wanted.
Yeah.
One person to say that like this one thing is really helpful for them. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to get this out and to see what comes from it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And congratulations.
Thank you.
To have that connection and relatability to what you wrote with people is amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, I think what you said about just letting yourself write and not editing it, I think is really smart because I can get into that perfectionism as well. And I think a lot of us can. And I remember, in school growing up, we would do like free writing and our teachers would be like, do not edit it, just let it flow. And I think, that ultimately helps you just kind of pour out, being able to do that and then increasing the relatability because you're not editing every little thing,
Yeah. Yeah, we all get stuck. I mean, with Rec, I've coached and worked with tens of thousands of artists.
Yeah.
And it's the same story. They're scared to share. It's not finished. They keep going back and working on it. Every reason in the book not to publish.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show an example, honestly. I wanted to show an example, not only like work to publish, just like get it out, but also that like you don't have to identify as an author to write a book. You don't have to be so caught up in like, I'm not this, so I can't do that. And that's really the chapter I'm in right now in my life is like, I'm going to do whatever I want if it feels right and it brings me joy.
Yeah.
And I hope that it inspires folks to do that thing and create that thing and publish that thing that they were worried about because of their identity and what people perceive of them or even of what they perceive of themselves. There's no rule book to this, and I really hope folks create because it brings them joy and they take a risk because they know it will be worth it.
Yeah, I hope so too. And what a great tool for entrepreneurs to learn from what your experience and the knowledge that you have to share.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get into some segments.
Okay, I like segments.
We're going to do some hot takes in Hollywood, although we're in Philly today.
Hot takes from Philly.
All right. First one, basement show or sold out venue?
I'm good on going back to basement. Like back. You asked me like what I would rather go to.
Yeah.
Sold out venue as long as like I'm in like the back state, like in the back of the venue or backstage. Like I don't want to be in the mix. I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like being in the mix.
Yeah.
So I'm either all the way in the back, I'm backstage, or like I'm off to the side in like a little VIP area.
Nice.
So I'll take that, but I don't want to be in anyone's basement.
Okay. Networking event or staying home?
Staying home.
Yeah, you are in that era right now.
Yeah. I mean, networking events helped define my network and created opportunity. You're not going to create opportunities by staying home,
right?
But if you're just asking me for my preference, I am much more of an introvert than anything else, and I will take a night in over anything else. And networking ekes me out. Like, if you see me at a networking event, all my friends know I'm standing in the back by the food.
Okay.
if you're looking for me.
That's where
I'm
to
by
find
the chips.
Okay. Philly or traveling the world?
I love Philly.
Yeah.
It is my home. It's where my family is. But life is about exploration and adventure, and I think you have to get out. So I would be traveling the world.
All right. Yeah. Building quietly or posting everything online?
Building quietly for sure. Building quietly, and though it's important to share, it's even more important to not talk about it, but be about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that most people like to talk about what they're gonna do or that they're somewhere. It's like, just do the work,
right,
and let it speak for itself. And that was my favorite part of the journey, is when no one knew who I was and like knew what Rec was, and we were just, me and my team were cooking, and we would cook, and then we would just share later, and they're like, whoa, what is that? And we would just, there was no expectation from us.
Right.
And those are some of the best times to build, is when there's no one expecting anything of you, and then you can just be in the background, nice and slow, methodically cooking something up, and then you can share it.
Totally. Yeah. Eagles game or hiking trip?
That's a great one, and it's definitely an Eagles game. I love hiking.
Yeah.
But the birds.
Yeah, totally. All right. Pitching investors or hosting creators?
Definitely hosting creators. Pitching, I mean, look, if you need investment, you would probably answer pitching investors, because that's what you need.
Yeah.
You're asking me just like what I want to do.
Yeah.
I love being around creators. They inspire me. It's why I started the business in the first place. And investors suck. Some cool investors. I had some great investors, but like the general investor who's just critiquing the hell out of you, who's never really done it themselves, and they love to say like, "No, have you thought about this?" or "What happens if Google just came and just did it themselves and like, would they crush you?" It's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Some 24-year-old kid out in Silicon Valley critiquing my business that I've been working on for 10 years. They can pat his hand.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. And last one, book writing or company building?
Company building to me is leadership.
Yeah.
It's something I'm really passionate about, is like collaborating with people. I'm not interested in building a company right now or potentially anymore, because it comes with a lot of stress. And the book writing is a creative exercise with little stress.
Yeah.
But I would lean towards company building only because it gets to involve leadership and impact and collaboration.
Yeah. Good answer. All right. Our next segment, we're going to bust some myths. Okay.
Bust some myths.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The first one is that creative careers aren't sustainable.
Yeah. Is this like a true or false?
Like a fact or fiction.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Creative careers aren't sustainable is definitely fiction. So many, it's a fact that so many careers are made through creativity, and a lot of people just see, the artist on the screen, and they're like, that's the only creative career that can be sustainable.
Right.
So you don't realize that there's a team of 100. That's what this podcast is about. I think interviewing those types of people, but there's hundreds of people behind every single star and artist that is probably having a sustainable career through their creativity because of it.
Right.
I think shining more light on them, i.e. this podcast, and in other ways is really important because that's only going to continue to grow as content creation becomes bigger and bigger, and those careers become more accessible.
Totally.
Yeah.
You need outside funding to build something real.
Definitely fiction. Outside funding is a great tool when it's clear that you need it.
Yeah.
But you can build something great, definitely in today's day and age, with the resources that are available to us through AI and other resources as well, where not a lot of money is needed at all. It's just more product market fit. Like, are you building something that people care about? At some point, you need money because marketing and other various resources. But I'd highly suggest not looking for outside money until you feel like you've exasperated your resources and capabilities otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scaling bigger always means you're more successful.
That is super false. As my good friend Alex Hillman says, bigger is not better, better is better.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Closing a business means you failed.
That's a good one. I wrote a chapter about this in my book, and I just going to say before I answer that. So I compare this kind of question to a college athlete who dreams to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. If a college athlete has a dream to win a Super Bowl, the college athlete trains really hard. They get drafted into the NFL. They make a team. They go on to have a great career, but they never win the Super Bowl. Did that person fail? I wouldn't say if it made the NFL, it becomes a great player, had a 10-year career, just didn't make the Super Bowl.
Right.
I bet something in their head is like, I never did it. And they might always live with that in some ways they might feel like they're a failure in some ways.
Yeah.
And I felt like that too. I for a while, I was like, I had this dream to really build this company to scale and to be worldwide and to exit with hundreds of millions of dollars and to build legacy wealth for generations to come. And I didn't do that. But I did do something. And I think I did something really meaningful for a long period of time. And then ultimately closed it because it was what's best for me. I think there's a lot of failure in needing to close a business. But there's also a lot of success and realization. Ultimately, that your question is fiction. That because you close your business means you're a failure. Absolutely not. You've definitely probably made some missteps to have to close the business, and then some of that could be failure. But failure is great. Like, stop thinking of failure. I think that's like the general ethos. Like, we think failure is so bad.
Right.
You only succeed by failing. No one just succeeds.
Right.
And the people who succeed recognize failure as just a stepping stone. And that's been my whole life.
Yeah.
Through every stage. It's like, wow, so I'm so happy I failed because it led me to succeed and it led me to be to where I am. I am in the best place I have been in my whole adult life, and it has come through a lot of failures. And I'm grateful for everyone.
Success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like you said in the beginning too, like the record label failing is ultimately how Rec was born.
Yeah, that needed to fail quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it means that you failed at all, but I think a lot of people can feel like that.
Yeah.
And so I think, but that happens with entrepreneurship, or if you're want to be an actor, you have to hear no a bunch of times before you get that yes. Yeah. And so it's, I love the quote that's like, if you knew that you were one failure away from your goal, you would be excited to fail and hear no all the time.
Absolutely. I'm a big proponent of that. I've had many stories where I've led my team to say, hey, I want to hear 30 no's before we stop today. So like, be excited when you hear it, because that means we're closer to being done for the day.
Yeah.
And that's super important. And like, I say failure is so great, but like, failure does suck. And, and it's okay to sit in like, dang, this sucks. But we got to pick ourselves up.
Right. Like,
let yourself be sad for that day. Go to sleep, wake up, and be ready for the next challenge.
Yeah.
A lot of folks just sit in this sucks, woe is me, and that's what really drags people out.
Right.
It's the folks that can be like, okay, you know what, I can be sad today, but I'm gonna go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna journal about what I'm grateful for, and I'm gonna go after what I'm after, like go after what is worth it for me, and whatever's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next segment is Crafty Corner.
Ooh.
So what does your dream crafty look like? Your go-to snacks on a long day or production
food.
day? Yeah.
What's my go-to snacks?
Yeah. Like on a production day, a long day.
I love grapes.
Okay.
I try to be fairly on the healthier side. So if I can get my hands on some healthy snacks, which is why like grapes are like my football food, because
Okay.
like I nervously snack on whatever's in front of me when something's happening.
So like at least it's healthy.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just pound grapes. Yeah. That's probably what I got.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Some grapes. Yeah. Our next segment is industry icks. What's on your industry betrayal list?
Betrayal list. Like what happens in the industry that like bothers me.
Yes.
I work with a lot of artists who just feel entitled. Like, why didn't you pick me for this? Or you never look my way for this. It's like, no one owes you anything. And why do you think that I needed to do that? Like I'm over here busting my butt just to throw you an oop every time. We've ran into over a decade, we've ran into a lot of entitled people, artists and people who just think they deserved the opportunity because their stuff didn't stink. And it's like,
right.
It goes both ways. There's relationships that need to be had.
Yeah.
There's work that needs to be put in. And, you're not the only one either. So I always have been bothered by a lot of entitlement that happens in the creator community.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, I work with a lot of businesses that just don't really value creativity. And I've always, it's helped me kind of figure out who I should work with and who I shouldn't. The way that they talk about creativity. It's like, oh, why can't it happen for $1? Or why can't they do it for free? A lot of exposure talk. Like, why can't they just do it for the exposure?
Yeah.
It's like, these people are trying to make a living. These people have spent so much money to try to get to this point, and you're just not even willing to. You have like these corporations have so much money, and I see what they're spending it on, but you can't put $500 aside for the musician. It's like, that's crazy. So just the value of creativity in some of the workplaces that I've engaged with in the past has always icked me out.
Right.
Sometimes I like to kind of Peter Pan my way in. It's like, hey, we're gonna allocate funds here. Like, you're gonna tell me that they should do it for exposure, and I'm gonna tell you you're doing it for $1,000. Like, we're paying them at least $1,000. And that's been a really fun part of my journey of me kicking in doors that like typically didn't value creativity and extracting budgets to go pay the creators. Sometimes it's not as easy. And then sometimes when I can, I'm like, okay, cool. I know who not to work with.
Yeah. And it's awesome that you're doing that because that just paves the way for, certain companies to take creativity and creators more seriously.
Totally.
So it's definitely necessary work, and it's amazing that you've been doing that. And I think you listed two pretty good icks. Entitlement definitely shows up in this industry, and it's a pet peeve of mine. And people not valuing and appreciating creativity the way that it should be appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I notice that a lot with like dance too, and choreographers. Like, choreographers are still not winning, awards. They have like costume people now getting awards, but why not choreographers to choreograph these big numbers in films?
Totally.
Or these viral dances that people are recreating on TikTok from film and TV. Like, they should be recognized, and it takes people pushing and paving the way for that to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Dave, you're on Call Sheet Confessions. Yes. What is your call sheet confession?
A confession in what capacity?
It could be anything. It could be a crazy behind the scenes, a time you failed, how you came back from it. It could be the expansion.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
I guess
something that we wouldn't know.
The first thing that comes to my mind, I'm sure I got plenty of more juicy things, but the first thing comes to my mind, I don't like to be around a lot of people. So it's funny when people are like, oh, you're going to the Roots picnic. Like, obviously you're going to the Roots picnic. I'm like, I'm not. I like hate being. I hate being like around crowds. Like I said, like if I'm not like all the way in the back, or like someone's like I'm like getting in behind the back door or something.
Right.
I have just like spatial anxiety, and I just like, it's like I despise it.
I relate to that. Like I like being around people, but I'm so short that at music festivals I'm like I can't see. I feel like I'm like swarmed by people. I'm like I can't see anything. Like it's like scary.
Yeah. So that's something that when I tell people, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe that you don't like doing these things." It's like, no, honestly, like I'll stay home, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about the expansion that people wouldn't know or they don't know. All I'll say, I'm going to try to keep my celebrity investor out of this.
Okay.
But I will say that aligning yourself with a celebrity feels like it will take you to another level. And I would just, for anyone who's trying to create partnerships, celebrity partnerships, investments, just know that you have the ability yourself, probably with your team, to achieve all of the same goals. And more times than not, and I was warned about this before I married into a celebrity investment, that it's more messy than it is valuable. It just seems like you're going to get a lot, and these people really, it's just like they don't really care that much.
Yeah.
And not to say that there's not the right partnerships, but I thought like if we did this, this would happen, and it was like the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. So just look out for that.
Yeah. And then it's like the grass isn't always greener. Taking the rose-colored glasses off. Don't meet your idols sometimes. You know, there is that element of things that you could think an opportunity is like the opportunity you've been wanting this whole time, and it might not be all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. It never, it's someone says like you make a plan and God laughs kind of thing. It's just like the entrepreneurial journey never goes according to plan.
Right.
The sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be better off, because the people who think it's going to go exactly to plan aren't prepared when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And not to say you have to be on your toes for things to go wrong. It's not a good way to live your life. But something always happens. Problems always exist. And every time you solve a problem, a new one comes. It's just a matter of, is the problem I'm solving next one that shows that I'm growing, or one that shows I'm staying the same, one that shows I'm digressing? You want to solve problems that will progress you and show growth for you. And that was an issue with me, is I was solving problems again and again that were either the same problem or ones that were showing no growth and just survival. And I was doing it for so long that I became numb to it and like lost my joy of problem solving.
Gotcha.
And so just got to be prepared for the problems that are going to be in front of you, because if you let yourself, every time a problem comes, get so impacted that it drops you down so much, like you're going to get exhausted and burn out quickly. I've had a secret for myself of like, I think about it like a heart rate monitor. The heart rate monitor, you want to kind of keep pretty right in the middle. Boop, 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 boop. If you let a high spike of something really exciting get you so excited, that spike is going to drop. And the amount it drops you, now the middle doesn't even feel the same anymore. And same way when it goes down and something bad happens, if you let that take you all the way down, it just takes so much to get back up. And it can go up and down on a daily basis. So I've kind of learned to live right in the middle.
My poppy, my grandfather actually says that all the time to me. Like, don't let the highs get too high and don't let the lows get too low. Yeah. Like, find that happy medium. It's okay to feel those things, but don't let them like stray too far from that kind of equilibrium state.
That's exactly it. It's good to feel the things. We're human. We should feel excited and we should feel sad. Don't let it go to either extreme.
Yeah.
That really killed me in the beginning, really caused unhealthy habits for me in the beginning, because the highs were so high and the lows were so low. And I was experiencing them on a daily basis, both directions. And it just really wore me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, if you were starting over, or for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there, what's your biggest advice for them?
Lots of advice. I was rereading my book on the train ride here because I have my event tonight. And the first piece of advice that I write in the book is about team building. It's probably not my biggest piece of advice, but it's what's top of mind because I just read it. When I started my business, I started it with like 12 people. It was me and Will as the co-founders, and we immediately built a very passionate group of like volunteers who became like our team. And we didn't have a business model. We just had passion and 12 people. And we would just take on any opportunity, and we had 12 people to do it, and we were really excited about it. Once it turned into a business, I had 12 people. And it was really hard to figure out like what this business needed to do what it needed to do versus like, how do I fill 12 people's time? So I started my business when I finally was able to start with payroll. I had 12 people on payroll. I could have had 2 people on payroll.
Yeah.
And it's important to know what your business needs and understand what your business model is before you have a payroll of 12 people. So try to do it with as little people. You know, I hate to say it because I love community and I love team building, but for successful businesses, you need to know like what the bare minimum needs are. And as co-founders, you need to know, or as a founder, an entrepreneur, you need to know how to do it all. Right. So you can figure out what I should delegate, what doesn't need to be happening. You need to experience it. Because for me, I was like, my volunteers were the ones doing the work, and I had no idea even how to do what they were doing. And that wasn't a good way to lead because I didn't know how much time they really needed to do it. I didn't really know how valuable that was. So I would really just monitor the amount of people on your team versus what the business needs. That was a huge lesson for me. Otherwise, that heart monitor analogy is another really big piece of advice of just like not letting the highs get too high and the lows too low. And I ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not that serious. And I think you need to allow yourself to not be so tight and allow yourself to feel loose. And sometimes you're going to have to put your head down and brute force your way through it. I'm really happy that I did that when I was in my early 20s, that I put my head down and I brute forced my way through it. Yeah. But at some point you have to stop that. At some point you need to put your head up and say like, what's the best for me? Not what's best for this business. What am I willing to do by any means? It's like, no, at some point you need to say, what's the best thing for me? Yeah. I don't know if I did that too late or not. I would say not, because I still have plenty of time in front of me. I got plenty of youth still ahead of me. But that was a big lesson that it would have been nice to realize. It's like, at what point will I put my head up and stop brute forcing my way through this business? For sure. And really start enjoying it. Take your head up. And that's why the whole thing is Life's a Hike. My book is Life's a Hike, is because a lot of us hate hiking because they hate every second of stepping up the mountain. Yeah. Let's find joy in each one of those steps. Let's look at we're alive. We're in nature. Look at that tree. Look at that squirrel. Look at my friends. To enjoy the hard things. And that requires you to put your head up and not just be head down. There's moments for each. Yeah, that's really good advice. I like that. Because I'm not the biggest hiking fan, although I do live in California, but I'm going to do that next time. Yeah, put your head up. Yeah. Be grateful that you're in nature and that you're strong enough and healthy enough to even give this an attempt. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Dave, what's next for you? Are you living your dream? What's your big dream? I am happy and I am healthy. I have family and I have great friends. And I have a lot of support. And I'm excited about little things and big things in front of me. So I would say I'm living my dream. It could always be better, but that's not a way to look at things, because it can always be better no matter what the situation is. Right. So I'm living my dream in terms of I have freedom now, and I have things I'm excited about. I'm living with passion, and I'm curious, and that's all I could really ask for right now. And for what's next is not really putting any identity on any of it. That's what this new chapter is about for me. It's not calling it something specific, so I put myself back in another box for now. Maybe at some point that will happen, but right now what's next is living a life that can be flexible and I can take on different opportunities when they present themselves, be as creative as I desire to be, travel as much as I would like to, and to just be there for my family and my friends. That's what's next for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you so much for coming on Call Sheet Confessions.
Yeah, so happy to be here.
This was so great, and you shared so much advice that so many entrepreneurs can learn from and take from, and I'm inspired sitting here listening to all of your experience.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Tell us where we can find you, how we can support.
Yeah. So I created my first personal website, which is exciting. So it's davesilvercreative.com. That's like where my book is, where some of my travel videos are. And if you care to collaborate with me, that's where you would do that. And then on like the socials, it's just my name, Dave Silver, with 2 underscores after it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you everyone so much for watching this episode of Call Sheet Confessions. I'm so excited I got to bring it back to Philly where it all started, and we will be back in Los Angeles next week. Always remember to work hard and chase the dream. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. May your call times be reasonable and your checks be on time. And like my Mimi always says, break a leg, but not really. We'll see you next time.
Woohoo.